On the John Fredericks Radio Network. Joining us now, Curtis Ellis, Senior Advisor with America First Policies. He also does a column on TrumpNationNews.com, also on WND.com. He's all over the place, and he's with us now. He's also the Chairman Emeritus? Anyway, some kind of title with a Latin
kind
name
of chairman
of the American Jobs Alliance.
I'm not just chairman.
Emeritus.
I'm a chairman something. Of
Emeritus.
Yeah, there you go.
Curtis, great to have you. I was excited to have you on today. Your column coming out spot on, and you're taking the same position I am, that small businesses are getting crushed by Democrat governors because they represent Trump's base.
Exactly. Look at this. I'm not saying these Democrat governors aren't clever enough to have figured that out consciously, but now they intuitively see, well, who are we hurting? Look at it. I start my column, which is going to be up at on American Greatness, amgreatness.com. It goes up tomorrow. But you get a preview here. John Fredericks' audience gets a preview. You get to hear it first. Look, we do not have a shutdown. The economy is not shut down, right? So when they talk about reopening the economy, already we've lost the argument because that's a false premise. The economy is not shut down. You may have noticed Walmart is open, Costco's open, Amazon is open for business. Government employees are still getting paid, even though they're considered non-essential, and that to me is a complete oxymoron. A non-essential employee, ask any business owner, small business owner, if they have a non-essential employee on the payroll. You know, in the real world, outside of government, if you're not essential, you ain't getting paid, ever, even in the best of times, unless you're the brother-in-law or something related to the boss. So the economy's not shut down. What is shut down? Small businesses, right? Small businesses. Family-owned shops, family-owned workshops, the backbone of America and the backbone of the Trump coalition are shut down. Big business, which is in bed with Wall Street, in bed with China, in bed with the social justice warriors, identity politics. Here you've got to have diversity training, and there you've got to not sell guns and ammo. All those businesses are open. They're open. They're doing better than ever. Walmart is hiring people. Amazon is hiring people. If you want to work for your neighbor at a small retail shop, sorry, you're shut down. If you want to work for Jeff Bezos in a warehouse like some ant in an ant farm, great, we're hiring right now. So it's very, very, very interesting, the symmetry that we see. Americans who work with their hands and live outside the big blue cities are unemployed, right? Government employees are getting paid. Wall Street people, financiers, they're still making tons of money, hand over fist. Even if the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange is closed, the exchange is open. The coastal elites, the creative class, the academics, the tenured professors, the media talking heads, all the white-collar professionals of urban centers, they remain employed and paid. And who do they vote for? Gee, isn't that interesting? They all vote for Democrats. But blue-collar Americans, people who work with their hands or people who own small businesses, families that own their business, or who work, or people who work for one of those family-owned businesses, rather than depending on the government or a giant global corporation for their livelihood, they're considered non-essential. People who go to church rather than go to abortion clinics are called non-essential. Well, isn't it interesting? Isn't that an interesting symmetry there, John? And, you know, before these people were called non-essential, you know what they were called? Deplorable. What? All the deplorables are now called non-essential. And for Hillary Clinton and her ilk and the Democratic commissars and overlords of our country, they absolutely consider half of America non-essential. These are the deplorables. these are the non-essential people. They never liked them anyway, and if we can starve them, lock them in their house, make them eat grass because they're not allowed to plant a vegetable garden now, that's fine. That's fine. So they have now found these people, these condescending elitists have now found the ultimate weapon to punish the people they have detested for electing Donald J. Trump president. Lock them home, put them on the dole, and let them await deliveries for their essential goods. So
basically starve them out, destroy their lives, destroy their families, destroy their businesses, make them dependent on the government. This is deplorable payback. You elected this guy. Now we're going to target you. You're going to suffer. You can't plant a garden. You can't have a business. You're a non-essential person. Hey, I'm in Washington, D.C. today. Nobody's here. Streets are bare. I can have a picnic on the middle of Pennsylvania Avenue, right? I can do that. No one here. But look, they're all getting paid, dude. They're all at home. Every single one of them is getting paid at home. Every single one, right? Stay home, get paid. All of them, right? Those are not the deplorables. Those are the Clinton people, right? They're all here. They're all getting paid. All the other essentials, they're all getting paid, right? But I tell you the other thing, it's permanent damage. Even if it reopens, look what Curtis Ellis here just said, right? Who is benefiting? Every big company, big tech, big retail, big government, big banks, right? They all are protected. Amazon's hiring 250,000 people. Where are they coming from? Wall Street, equity funds, private equity funds, getting $2.7 trillion in new money from the government, from your textiles, from the Fed, to have to invest in the economy. Where are they going to invest it? They're going to buy up small companies at 50 cents on the dollar, put them out of business, right? Sell off all their stuff like they always do, ship their jobs away, and give it to Amazon. And, you started and said, maybe they didn't figure this out, but it just happened to be this way. Well, they figured it out now.
Now
right?
they figured it out. Absolutely.
Destroy Main Street. Destroy the core of Trump's deplorable base. The core of it, the cornerstone, the building block. Who was it, Curtis? It's small business owners.
Right.
And
that's right. We met them, John.
Annihilated.
You and I met them when we were 2016 New Hampshire primary. We were there at the victory party in New Hampshire when Donald Trump won. And everybody in that audience, they were all small business owners. They were, we didn't meet everybody there, but actually there was some Israeli guy there. I don't know what he did, but I think he was Mossad. But there was, it was not the toothless, ignorant, illiterates that the media portrays the deplorables as. These are people who own businesses, have their businesses, they sign the front of a paycheck, they have to deal with the administrative state, they know the competition they face from the giant corporations and from China's cheap subsidized goods. They get it. They love Donald Trump because he's a small businessman. He really was.
That's right.
He's the billion-dollar small businessman. Trump Organization, a family business. A family business. Right. They did not answer to shareholders. Right. They run it. They ran it by the seat of their pants. It was run and gun and fly, and they did it. So now...
Yeah, they made good decisions, and they made bad decisions when they invested in those Atlantic City casinos. Those were bad decisions. People make bad decisions. It's good and bad, but it's a family-run business. The guy understands it, right? But what the Democrats are doing is they want to take small business and they want to eradicate it, eviscerate it, end it.
They want to end it. They want to crush it. Same reason Stalin collectivized agriculture. He wanted to get rid of the peasants. He wanted to get rid of the kulaks, the land-owning peasants. Let's have everybody work for a corporate farm. We saw it in California. The small family farmer in the Joaquin Valley, gone. Corporate agriculture takes over. Who wanted that as well? Cesar Chavez and the United Farm Workers. They can make a deal with Del Monte owning everything. They can make a contract. They can't make a contract with the Basque family that owns a farm and has a personal relationship with their employees for 5 generations, have worked that land. They don't want that. So it's the picture is the same. And now we see the corporate consolidation. That is the Democrats' vision. Governor Cuomo on TV the other day, I don't know if it was, I can't even, the days all blend together now. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. He gets on with his conference call with the 5 governors. He's going to reopen the Northeast. He's going to develop a plan. A plan, economic planning. Governor Cuomo's bringing us economic planning. Oh, isn't that interesting? Where have I heard that before? So a plan to reopen the economy. And how's it going to work? You're going to have a state economic development official and Nurse Ratched are going to sit down and decide when we can go back to work and how. I mean, really, this is cuckoo's nest land. We're all locked up,
now,
waiting for Nurse Ratched to give us our cigarettes.
What flew over the cuckoo's nest, if anybody's old enough like Curtis and I are, to remember that movie with Jack Nicholson, one of the best films ever made.
That's right. And it was a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the nanny state. And that's what they're shoving down our throats. Everybody's going to be on meds.
it's like Gretchen Whitmer. Every time
Gretchen
I see
Whitmer's Nurse Ratched.
I'm thinking Nurse Ratched. I'm starting to laugh. I know this is supposed to be a serious discussion, but I will never see her again on TV without thinking of Nurse Ratched with the little hat she had on, giving out the cigarettes to the crazy people. Oh my goodness, that's really what they want. All right, I got to read a couple of texts here because this is supposed to be a serious discussion.
But you got to laugh to keep from crying, John, because this is a pretty bad situation we're in.
But you're right. I mean, look at what Curtis said, and it's kind of, we've been talking about it, but now, Curtis, you nailed it bullseye, right? This is a systematic eradication and evisceration of small business owners, which is the cornerstone of Trump's base. The heart of the deplorables are the people that own small businesses. And in one fell swoop, these Democratic governors can wipe them off the face of the earth and get rid of them. And not only that, but punish them for voting for Trump in 2016. Punish them by taking away their income, their jobs, their families, destroy everything they have. That's punishment for putting this guy in office to them.
Oh, yeah. And look, hey, you want a job? Go work for Jeff Bezos. We know who he supports. Just read his newspaper, the Washington Post. You know how he feels about Trump. Go work for Jeff Bezos. Work in the warehouse, which is filled with goods made in China and being shipped to people across the nation. And it's only a matter of time before those warehouse workers become unionized.
Right.
And so,
well, that's their goal. See, because if you have all these small businesses that are employing 90 million people, you can't unionize them. You can't weaponize them. So they got to get rid of all the small businesses, and that's part of what they're doing. All right, let me read you some feedback here. Barry in Wears Cave, Virginia says, John, I'm so disappointed in President Trump with the task force appointees. None of them represent small businesses in Main Street. Big banks and big businesses have not been affected by this. Actually, they have been affected, Barry. They're making more money than ever, and I am disappointed also. And if you look at the financial task force on the president's committee, it's like the gangster, bankster, thievery all-star team of all time. It's unbelievable. All right, let's get to Sean in Newport News. He says, tell Curtis my friend who works for the government in Washington is telecommuting. He only has to put in 6 hours of an 8-hour day because the government pays him 2 hours for having to homeschool his child. Isn't that lovely, Curtis?
Oh, that's great. What a gig. What a great gig.
Christine in Washington, D.C. says, no, John, you can't have a picnic on the middle of Pennsylvania Avenue because you don't have a mask. So I can't have a picnic because I don't have a mask. I forgot coming to D.C. that you can't go into a store without a mask, so I went in to buy little grocery store, the little shop that I always shop at, right on 8th Street in Eastern Market, Curtis. I think you've been there with me
Yeah.
when we eat out. I always go by it. It's a little store. It's a Main Street store. I don't go to the Trader Jack's or the big stores. I go to the little tiny store there, and they said, "Oh, John, I'm sorry." They know me. John, I'm sorry. You can't come in without a mask. There's an ordinance. You have to have a mask. We don't want to get a fine. So I'm like, can I just tell you what you want, what I want, give you $10 and just bring me the change? He said, yeah, we can do that. But I couldn't go without a mask.
So they met you on the sidewalk? They went and they
No,
stopped?
I tried to get in, and I didn't realize that, I guess, the D.C. ordinance, even for the small businesses open, you can't go in without a mask.
So
That's a law
are
now.
some of the local hypes and winos that hang out panhandling, are they now selling masks on the sidewalk? Because otherwise, I see a catch-22 here. I can't go into the mask store to buy a mask because I don't have a mask. So how do I get a mask? Right? I can't buy one from a store because I'm not allowed in a store. So how do I get a mask?
I mean, that thought crossed my mind. I mean, the guy that said I couldn't get in helped me out. I said, I just want one thing. Can you get it for me? I'll pay you for it. You bring me out the change in a bag. He said, sure, I can do that, but you have to wait outside.
Right.
But yeah, I can't. How do I buy a mask if I can't go in to buy a mask without a mask?
Right. I mean, this is like a philosophical problem. I mean,
so I'm going to as soon as I get off with you, I'm going to text Sue Black, Den's wife, and get her to make me a mask.
Right. She makes quilts. She's a great quilter.
She can make me a mask and FedEx it here, because until I have a mask. But I can't buy a mask because I can't go in the store to get a mask because you can't go in without a mask.
And John's going to starve to death because he can't get food, because he can't go in the store and buy food, so he's without a mask. We don't want John to starve to death.
I know,
because,
I mean, that's, take my cigarettes away, that's fine, but don't mess with the spoon and the knife, right? Or the fork or whatever.
That's it.
No stranger to that, as Curtis knows. When Curtis and I had to go to dinner, it's like ridiculous, okay? Because Curtis will order this little tiny meal thing. It's like to me that's like the appetizer,
that's
right?
That's not true.
So I order the appetizer, the meal, and you don't eat anything. You eat this little tiny thing, and I like the big man's plate.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, back to the topic at hand. If you wanted to design an attack against Trump voters and Trump base, you couldn't do better than this economic attack that's being leveled against small businesses, independent businesses, and blue-collar workers, this so-called shutdown, this close down. It's just brilliant. Now, Pat Buchanan has a great column. You've got it up on Trump Nation News. And it's really quite frightening. It's what does the coronavirus war tell the world and tell us about America? Right now, the best estimates, 60,000 people are going to die from the coronavirus. Right, so we don't want to lose 60,000 people. So we shut down everything. We shut down the economic engine. We shut down our way of life. This is not about economy. This is not about dollars and cents. We shut down our way of life. We throw away our freedoms, freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom to protest. Protest is now deemed non-essential. Can't do it. Sorry, you're arrested. Can't go into a store without a mask, and you can't buy a mask without going into a store, so just stay home and shut up. Wait for the delivery like an invalid. And what's the world going to think if are we really going to defend Estonia as our NATO obligation says we will? Are we really going to defend Taiwan if it means nuclear war where millions will die? If we're not willing to let 60,000, if we're not willing to tolerate 60,000 people dying, the majority of that 60,000 being in nursing homes, are we really going to sacrifice millions of Americans for principles, for an idea of liberty and freedom or whatever? As he points out, during the Civil War, 600,000 people. Abraham Lincoln sent 600,000 young men and boys to die to keep the Union together. And at that time, 600,000 was a huge part of the population. And now we're not willing to. We're cowering in our homes at the thought that 60,000 may die.
Well, I want to know why we lost 50,000 young men and women in Vietnam. Why did we do that? And would we do that again? I mean, you can go back to any conflict that we've had. I mean, why do we still look at how many airplane crashes there's been? Why do we still go on a plane? Why don't we just ban them?
Right.
Amtrak has had several crashes where people have died. Let's ban trains. I mean, you can take this argument, Curtis, further and further. The models are flawed, and now I've been saying this for a week, and you validated it. This is no longer about COVID-19 models, deaths, beds, ventilators. This is about politics. This is about defeating Trump in November. They'll do anything to beat this guy. They have to destroy the economy. And now they've figured out we can have a daily double. We can have an exacta. We can destroy the economy, destroy Trump, and destroy the lives of the small business owner deplorables that put him in there. For them, it can't get any better. John Fredericks Radio Network.